Trying to stay healthy. Trying to stay healthy. Welcome back to the #1 home improvement business show in the world. I'm going to start something new. Question and answer, where I take the week's most asked question, or the best question that I think I'm qualified to answer, and I answer it for you. Most of these questions have been asked several times, dozens, hundreds of times over the years. I just really hadn't gone out there and answered them. They come from the comments. You can also ask them on my Instagram, which will be linked below. The first question: how much do you try to make per hour? I don't think in hourly to hourly. I don't have an hourly wage. I don't have an hourly goal. And honestly, I don't think I have daily or weekly goals. I think my smallest goal for a sum of money to be earned is 1 month. And usually that is right now. Like the last 2 months of the year, I'm really pushing myself to hit those goals, to either meet or exceed the yearly goal. I don't think in hourly at all. That is the big difference between someone who has an employee mentality and someone who has a passion for their business to succeed. A crazy passion to be financially successful, financially secure, or has other financial goals, whatever name you want to put on it. They don't think in an hourly wage. They think of a huge, big picture. I mean, I have different stages of my financial life planned out. The big goal is that early retirement. And what do I got to do to get to early retirement? Because there's this span. Because let's say I want to retire at 50, or I want to go down to part-time by 47. But 50, I want to be what I consider retired. How do I make the jump from age 50 to 65? Because at 65, the floodgates open and we have access to millions of dollars in our retirement funds. That gap between age 50 and 65 is what I'm going for. So I've got, what am I? I'm 42 now. So I've got 8 years to get some sort of financial system in place, which is going to be passive income, to span age 50 to 65. That might not make sense to a lot of people who are leaving a job as an employee, when they don't get it yet. And I didn't get it for a long time, until my early 30s, when I started seeing the bigger picture of life. And I was, not living day to day or week to week. I started thinking of, oh, wait a minute, you're 30 years old now. What do you got going on? There's more I'm thinking about than the hourly wage. Thinking about that customer, that business opportunity. What dollar figure is going to win that situation to benefit me in the future for the long run? $100 an hour, it could be something that I do for free. A lot of people have made comments still about that dang GFI video. I would have just told them to push the button. Of course, the wires were still hanging out of the wall with the exposed socket, or the exposed plug. It wouldn't have worked. But they would have just told them to push the button, and that would have got them more work in the future. I 100% agree with that tactic. That is a business tactic. It's a strategy to win that customer for life. This customer, I already won years and years ago. Years ago, I won this customer. They love me. And they love writing checks to me. They specifically choose me to do their major projects. This exact same customer, I'm meeting this Sunday afternoon to do sometimes you make a few dollars an hour, sometimes you make $500 an hour. But it's all got to be a part of a calculated plan for a bigger picture. Probably talked too much about that one. I'll probably chop that one down. The next one is, how do you deal with customers that back out? This question, he laid out an example. We're going to use the month of January. He said, I bid a job for January and got the job. And therefore, I turned down other jobs that had come in requesting for work to be done in January. The job that I landed in January, that customer backed out. Now my January is wide open and I have no work. What do you do? What do you do? He said he doesn't feel comfortable taking deposits because he thinks it's slimy or unethical. I don't agree with that that deposits are unethical. It works for a lot of businesses. That's why a lot of businesses do this, is to keep people locked in so that they don't get cold feet and back out or decide that they don't want to do it. I mean, it might keep them there, but you're not going to win that customer for life if you keep their deposit. You know, so I guess the deposit might help them get the mental mindset of really fully committing to that project. But you got to give it back. If they want to back out, you got to give that deposit back. If you don't, you lose that customer for life, and you lose all the referrals that customer could have given you for life. That's the reason I don't take deposits. I just don't like keeping money that I haven't earned yet. Maybe in a video in the future, we'll talk more about how I take payments on larger projects. What's this guy do? Well, what I would have done was I bid every project. I make sure that there's a written estimate in front of every customer that contacts me. And I don't want to put words in this guy's mouth. I don't know if he did not do this or if he just was on the phone with them and said, you know what, I'm not available in January. And that was that. And they said, okay, well, we'll find somebody else. I would have went and gave them an estimate, got in front of them, you know, showed them my smiling face, basically sold them on me, given them that written estimate. When the job that he did get dropped out, my first call would have been to those customers that I gave a written estimate to and say, there's been a change in the schedule. I have some time available in January. I'd like to come do this work for you. The exact same thing happened to me. I'm going to tell you what happened. I took you guys on a live stream on the way to an estimate, a bathroom renovation. And I did the live stream after, and then I did the estimate right here. I showed you how I was going to do the estimate. Well, this lady's mother had a stroke and had to get moved into like a nursing home. And it's just really not a convenient time to do a renovation. And she doesn't know how much money she's going to have to allocate now to take care of her mother that just had this stroke. Could come circle back around next year. That slot of time is now open. 2 days later, I got another call. And I did another live stream where I took you there, and I did a live stream after. That project is slotted for the first week of January. Now that one could go bad too. I went against one of my rules of working for old people. He had a stroke last year in Mexico. He lost 60% of his hearing and his sight. The guy could die at any minute. Maybe he won't make it to January. Never turn down the chance to get in front of someone and give them a written estimate. And what I mean by written estimate, I mean you don't have to write it out with pen and paper. You get it through them through email. Get something on paper in front of them. Last question of the day. Do I do contracts? Do I get signatures? I don't do contracts. I don't do signatures. It's just a handshake. When I first started out, yes I did. I came from a mega corporation where everything was documented and written down. I had to refer to that written documentation to force my subcontractors to do their job. And I took all that with me. I took all those contracts, all those scope of works, and I applied it to my business. And I would get signatures, and the customer would get a copy, and I would get a copy. These days, my customers come qualified. And it's really hard to explain that. They're not cold calls. They're not strangers. They are friends and family of my past customer. And my past customers are friends and families of more past customers. And they all kind of know each other. And it's all kind of like a family that they know that there's this guy that can do everything. He remodeled my parents' bathroom. He built an addition for my brother-in-law. He put a nice covered patio over my house. So that's kind of how my name goes in this network. There are no dishonest people. Like-minded people stick together. And I don't ever do contracts anymore. But I will type out a scope of work, which is basically a list of what I'm supposed to do. And I'll send it to them. Just so that and it's not to refer to in a legal situation. It's just to make sure that I'm taking care of all their needs. Is everything on this list okay with you? Do you see anything that I may have forgotten, or would you like to add anything to this list? Pretty simple. No signatures. As a final note, I have never, ever, ever had any situation go bad. I've never been sued. I've never had to sue anybody else. I've never had any unpleasant situation, any unpleasant project, business dealings, nothing. In the beginning, I chose my customers wisely, and they expanded. And like I said earlier, they're all like-minded people. They're not scammers. They're not poor people. They're not people that are looking to get things on a shoestring budget. They want it done. They want it done right. And they want it done by me. This channel is mainly for new people who have zero business experience at all. That's another thing I'm going to add into a lot of videos is young guys. I highly suggest you go work for a successful remodel company, a successful construction company, a successful bathroom remodeler, kitchen remodeler, addition company. Learn the ins and the outs. Learn the gray area that I can't talk about on camera. There's so much to learn that nobody talks about except when you are in that field, when you're in those businesses. It's not something that the public gets to know about. Just like the margins. DeWalt doesn't come out and tell the world how much it costs to make this tool. Because if they knew that this only costs $5 to make in China and they're selling it to us for $300, the world would fall apart and go crazy. There's a lot of things in business that are just not made public for a reason. And you have to be in that business and learn it firsthand. It's not something I can talk about. It's not something anybody's going to talk about. Thank you for watching the #1 home improvement business channel in existence in the world, the universe.